Enjoy life. My grandson graduated today, and so I went to his graduation, and we're a little late. So thank you for joining us. Hope you like, share, comment. Make your comments and questions in the chat so that we can get you on and bring you on. We have some good guest hosts today. Here's Ed, not Ed McMahon. Why do I always say that?
It just
No, Rick
just call,
Bradshaw.
just call me Ed from now on.
No, there you go, Rick. What's been happening with you?
Oh, not much. Just, playing around with the 112 scale Joes. Still have some stuff coming in the mail. I'm going to send out I head out to Stacy, who's going to refurbish it for me and fix it up. So I'm excited about
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's about it.
Well,
Trying
cool.
to stay out of trouble.
You got anything new in your zoo?
I got some stuff to show you. Let me just show you real quick. I've got the Texas Ranger. And it's a G.I. Joe Texas Ranger. And what he's on is one of the Ertl Real Heroes bodies. Because they got these great hands that can actually grab hold of stuff. And the hat fit him really well.
But to be honest with you, that's one of my favorite figures, but I never got it.
He's a tough one to find,
Show me the badge. I want to see the badge on that guy.
The badge, unfortunately, is embroidered on. And it says
Okay.
G.I. Joe.
Okay. Well, cool.
It's too bad they didn't, make a real one. That would have been nice. Another one I got. This is a Timeless Joe, a foreign Timeless Joe. He was the Australian jungle fighter, and I made him a World War II Red Devil. And what he's wearing, his smock, his Denison smock, and his pants and his boots are 21st century toys. And these pouches, which are soft goods, I have no idea where I found them, but they're great. So I thought, let me put together a paratrooper, a Brit paratrooper. He's got his felt covered canteen. And I'm not sure if this is war authentic. It probably is, but his Lee Enfield has a sniper scope on it. So I have to look that up and make sure that's an authentic weapon. I believe it is. Nice one. The 21st Century did a really nice job on the clothing on this. And the last thing I'm going to show you is my Lost in Space John Robinson. And these came out, I bet you 10 years ago, maybe more. And I believe these were made. I looked these up and I found two companies attributed to making these. One is Sci-Fi Metropolis and the other is Executive Replicas. So I don't know which one did them. But it's a nice sculpt of a guy. I believe his name was what was his name? I forget.
That's Lost in Space, and those are some awesome figures.
Yeah,
absolutely awesome.
And he's got his blaster with his ridiculous holster that they made for these guys. I forget what his name was. Guy Williams. That's what it was. Who also played Zorro, I believe. Yeah. Nice figure. I got him on eBay years ago. Really cheap. I was happy.
Well, I'm going to bring Stacy in here while I try to get Greg on because the link is not showing up for him. So I'm going to send it to him a different way.
Okay.
Stacy, why don't you tell us what's new in your zoo?
Well, still doing the same stuff that I normally do, flocking and stuff, but I thought I'd show this off. This was released by California Creations. It was the Pro Series Evel Knievel bike. and it was released a couple years ago, and it's supposed to be a copy of the original 73 bike that Evel Knievel they put out, which is kind of like this one here.
Yeah.
But what I did was I took this bike, took it all apart. I changed out the wheels with one of the earlier editions that California Creations made, which was this bike. It was called the Trail bike. You can see it's different. So I stole the wheels off of that. I repainted it all white, painted the black inset. I left the engine chrome, and then I took the handlebars, which you can see here are black, and it has a fender on it. I took the fender off and I chromed it. So, and I put the stickers on it to make it look like the 73 bike. And this is what you would have got in 1973.
That's amazing right there. That's amazing.
So that's the same bike as that black one.
Yeah, nice. Nicely done.
Did you have to take every piece apart, or you just tape
Pretty
something?
much. Yeah, pretty
Okay.
much. I cast the because this is a different size kickstand, and you can't use the kickstand off of here. I didn't want to use it. See, it's all black. So I cast it out of white plastic, and then pretty much everything, you know. So see, it's an operational bike. It will work.
That's just amazing. Absolutely.
Yeah,
You did a great job.
Yeah, nice work.
Yeah, and then I took the helmet. This is a California Creations Evel, and the original helmet was called a ram's horn helmet, and that's what this is. However, I painted this all by hand.
Oh boy!
I go
The stars too.
I did that.
Oh, wow. Stacy, how do you see with that?
See?
How do you see to do that?
Goggles. It took me close to a day to seriously to paint this one. This was tough.
Wow.
It's really hard because you got to get them lined up. You know, so say they line up pretty much the same size, and then they have to touch in the back. And it's a blue metallic with red, and trying to get those. It was tough. It really was. But yeah, that's first edition helmet style. So I painted that on there because that would have gone with that bike.
Right.
So yeah, I'm real happy with it.
Yeah,
you know,
nice.
You can tell it's not real. And actually, here's the dead giveaway. Let's go this way. See the pin that?
Yeah.
This is the locking pin. See, it's plastic on this one.
Yeah.
On an original bike, here's a later edition. This is a real bike. See, it's steel.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
It's actually a steel piece. So they're both on both sides. They're steel.
Wow.
So, you know, that's what locks it into that energizer. So when you rev it up, it holds it in place. And then as soon as you quit spinning, it'll take off. Yep. So that's how you can tell. And plus, another dead giveaway, this is a fake, is because there's a chain on this side. That's what makes the wheel spin, you know, fake. You know, it's fake. Well, there's a chain on this side, too. You can't have two chains, okay? All other bikes only have one.
Our special guest has arrived. He's in the green room.
Excellent.
And we are going to bring in the most talented guy that I know in toys right now. And I'm telling you, there's a lot of good talent out here in our hobby world. But this guy blows me away every time I talk to him. Greg Arturo. Welcome to the show, Greg.
Hey. Welcome.
How you doing, Greg?
What have you been doing lately, Greg? I know you've had a lot of projects going on. What would you like to highlight right now? Is there anything?
The latest thing is I've got the second production version of the tank.
Okay. And if you have not got in on sponsoring a tank, you need to do it now. This is the Ghost Army tank, right?
Yeah. Wow.
Yep. And then it even has the full story printed underneath.
Outstanding.
In case you're wondering what the Ghost Army is and what part in history that played, it's all there too. But of course, it is exactly 1/6 scale. I found blueprints, and I worked off of those to get as much of the scale as possible and detail as possible within the production requirements of inflatables, which are a little, there's only there isn't too many techniques you can use to make inflatables.
Right.
And so you have to be kind of clever to figure some things out. But then, of course, I cheated it because there should be 2 holes on top. But this way, you can actually put a G.I. Joe up in the top and close the lid. That's cool. So what I'm doing actually right now is I am, and by the way, this turret height, they changed it on me because they didn't understand something. So it has to go back down 1.5 inches. But so like tonight, I'm going to be adjusting the artwork because they changed the base color. So now some of the colors are looking brown.
Yeah. So
I have to adjust the artwork so it all blends back together again like the original one. And then the goal is still to have these at Kentuckiana in July to be able to sell the real ones. And we've had a bunch of pre-orders, which is nice.
Right.
But they're fun. I mean,
what we'll do is we'll put a link for people to be able to go and pre-order in the in the description section.
Yes.
And you can get in on that. You can get in on that if you want to get one of the ghost ships. And don't do like I did a few years ago. I walked past a custom figure, and I said, I don't know if I really need that. I don't know. And now I can't find it anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all learned that.
Yep, we all learned that.
I was there was a nice toy show out here in Xenia, Ohio, a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Ace was there. Steve was there. And there was a Barbie that was Laura Croft, but it was perfectly jointed. One of the best jointed Barbies I ever saw, and had just kind of like a normal straight haircut type of a thing rooted.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, I should buy that so I could do something with it, And I didn't. But if you're ever looking for a very nicely jointed Mattel doll, female action doll, and it even had hands that are more like this rather than.
Yeah.
And so that'd be a really nice one to use for.
I wonder if that's the made to move Barbie. The made to move Barbie is really cool. You can move her just like you can any of the other action figures, but you usually have to make sure you're buying the made to move Barbie, which comes with that extra articulation.
Yeah. And to me, I'm always about the articulation because I love to put things in weird poses all the time.
Right.
That's half the fun.
Right.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah. Well, Stacy, were you gonna? I thought I saw you getting ready to ask a question.
Well, yeah. I was going to ask, Greg, can you tell me, what does that tank kind of go for?
So the pre-order price
Uh-huh.
is $60, and then we'll have them for sale that you can pick up for $75 at the Kentuckiana.
So $15 savings. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And that will only hold one figure in just in the turret, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Does it look like it's got like an axe? Does that axe come off the side of it?
No, it's printed detail. But the nice thing is, I made sure that it's exactly the scale because I pulled all of these images literally from the blueprints and then augmented it to make it look like it was really attached there and some things like that. And some things because you can only print on one surface. But it came out pretty good. I'd like the colors to be a little bit nicer. But actually, let me show you a Joe in it.
And just for fun, while he's doing that, those of you that are watching, put in the comments, I know what the Ghost Army is, or I don't know what the Ghost Army is. Tell us, I know or I don't know in the comments.
This is he was still hanging, climbing on the, amphibious assault training, G.I. Joe.
Okay. Classic collection.
Classic collection, yeah. He's got the molded flak vest, and then he's wearing a grenadier vest over it.
Oh wow!
Ta-da!
Ta-da!
Wow, that tank is huge. Holy cow!
Yeah, I guess it is. I when he put that in there, I was like, oh, there's almost room for two.
Yeah.
That's why
Wow.
if you see a real Sherman tank,
Oh yeah.
it's just huge.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
When I was working with Hasbro on G.I. Joe, someone made the arrangements. I don't know how, but we got to go down to Fort Knox, which at the time was still the head of the armored army or cavalry, technically. Yeah. And so they had bays there where they were restoring old tanks and things, and they let us climb into them and play on them. And it was amazing how much room is not inside one of these tanks and how tight it is.
Yeah.
They also had at that same place, they had this big long room, this building. And it's like, why is this weird shaped building here? And we went inside and it was all full of restored half tracks and Jeeps and deuce and a half and tanks. And what it was is this building was built to train for D-Day. It was the exact inside of a landing craft tank, LCT, or anyway, one of the ones that had the vehicles, and they trained in there to be able to get in and out quickly, so that when the thing went to the beach, all the vehicles could get out quickly. And it was cool. It was still there. The building's still there, and it was just housing some of these old, really cool vehicles. And it was then that I finally got the manager of G.I. Joe at the time. I kept pushing, saying we need something better than the Jeep. We need something for Classic Collection that's like a step above. And we need a half track, because I'd watched Kelly's Heroes too many times. Yeah. And he kept blowing me off. And finally, when he saw it there, and it was the Tank Buster version that had the giant cannon in the back, he's like, okay, now I get it. We can make that. And so
wow,
that was fun. And of course, the original plan there was to use the tooling to make 3 different versions. The Tank Buster and a European one with the canvas top for another year. And then the Pacific Marine one, which would have had the anti-aircraft unit in it, which was always my favorite version. But we only did the Tank Buster.
Well, a few years ago at Joe Atlanta, one of my friends made the anti-aircraft one.
Yes, it was so cool. I saw the pictures. Yes.
It was. I think he won the show, the armor show for that year, because that tank or half track just was outside the box. Just outside the box.
Yeah.
Because those guns are awesome. Those guns, and when you mount them on a half track, it really looks impressive. Yeah. Really does.
Yeah.
When I was driving through the hills of West Virginia once, I passed like a little VFW post, and I had to kind of slam on the brakes and turn around, and there was a little unit, and it was a self-contained anti-aircraft gun mount on wheels that you would pull behind a Jeep or something. And I thought, gosh, if we were still doing Classic Collection G.I. Joe, I would do that in a heartbeat. And I was surprised how small it was.
Right.
So I shot complete pictures of it from every angle, just in case it could ever come alive sometime.
Yeah. Well, I'm friends with a guy that works with the Ultra Core. And he's trying right now to bring some of the Ultra Core back, the 12-inch Ultra Core.
Mm-hmm.
And he posted a picture earlier today of an Ultra Core that was for their 40th anniversary. And it was just unique. I like Ultra Core. I don't like it as much as I like G.I. Joe, but I think that it is a good second tier figure. And I even like Power Team in some cases. It just depends on what you're trying to do or what you're trying to collect.
Yeah.
But when we lost some of these other companies that no longer make them, I think we lost a lot of talent and a lot of possibilities. Because I think the gun you're talking about, I think I've seen it made, but it may have been made for the Germans. I think the one that I saw may have been a German one.
Okay.
That you could pull behind. They had a huge half track, even
Yes,
bigger than
yeah.
ours.
Yeah.
And they would pull the 88 around and stuff like that.
Mm.
Funny thing about those half tracks, the German ones.
Uh-huh.
So within a mile of where I'm sitting right now, there's a warehouse, and there's guys that work in this warehouse that are world-renowned specialists to restore those German half tracks.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Yeah, and so I guess they people find them in bogs and stuff like that and send them over to get fixed. And so every once in a while, you'll see one of those German half tracks riding around Miamisburg here. And a friend of mine actually went and stopped them and talked to him. And he was actually a monster truck builder, world-renowned monster truck. And so they got to chatting. So next time they finish one, they're supposed to call him, and he's going to bring me so we can go see the giant German half track. I'm looking forward to
Great.
Could you imagine that as a monster truck?
Yeah. I mean, it was. You think about it, so it was a lot of the same techniques and welding and all that fabricating. So they were able to talk on the same level and just have a blast.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Wow. Those trucks are monsters. They're huge. Yeah. There's they use one in the Dirty Dozen at the end. You don't see them much in movies, but it gets a lot of screen time in the Dirty Dozen.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch that.
It's a great movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now we have
and Kelly's Heroes too. I love Kelly's Heroes.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, it's too bad. It would have been nice if Hasbro put out some more vehicles. Wouldn't that have been great?
Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, us the collectors became grandparents and stopped spending as much money on that. And it was right at that time period, because they even advertised that on TV with a commercial, and it was like an old-fashioned G.I. Joe commercial with a backyard battle. It was really cool.
Yeah.
But it just didn't sell.
Yeah.
How much did the half track sell for originally? Do you remember what the store price was?
My guess is probably like $79.
Okay,
but I don't remember for sure.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, that's
my
right.
I mean, my son called me one day from his car and said, I'm at a yard sale, and he sends me a picture and he says, "Do you know what this is?" And I said, "Yeah, I know what that is." He said, "Well, they want $25 for it. Should I get it?"
yes.
And I said, "You better get it."
Yeah, get it.
Yeah.
It costs more to ship it. It costs more to ship it from Florida here than what we paid for it.
Yeah.
Well,
Still.
But I love my half track. I really do. It's an awesome piece. It's a little undersized, though, don't you think? It's a little small.
It is. And actually what we did on that, because that was one of the dilemmas that they had, was, so how big do we make it to still keep it, interactive and everything? And the Mattel philosophy for Barbie was 7/8. So if you made a Corvette, it was correctly to scale, but it was 7/8 to what it should be.
Okay.
And so we ended up using that first on the pom-pom gun. We made it 7/8 scale, but we made all of the seat and the handles to be 1-to-1. And then they did a similar thing to the half track, but there were different size half tracks. And the half track that was actually in the at Fort Knox that I stood next to and said, "Hey, can we finally do this?" It was about that scale. It wasn't that far off, but it's not the size they were in Kelly's Heroes. Those were the much bigger ones.
Right.
yeah.
I still have a Greyhound in the box that I have not done anything with. And I bought that at Joe Atlanta probably 10 years ago. I can't bring myself to take it out of the box. I just can't. What that other thing that they made that had Killjoy or Kilroy was here.
Kilroy was here. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like the amphibious thing. I can't remember
The
what.
duck. No.
Yeah,
The duck was the American version.
Yeah,
But yeah, there was the German version of that, of the duck.
Well, I've got the American version. I do have the American version. I never really understood what Kilroy was here means. I don't know what that means. Does anybody know what that means?
I know that the soldiers, scribed, the American soldiers, Allied soldiers, or at least American ones, scribed that on a lot of stuff in World War II as they were going into Germany.
Okay.
I don't know who Kilroy was, but that was one of the things that they did.
Yeah, it was just a kind of a slang thing, I think.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if we're going to be able to have that figure that you and I have been working on ready by Kentucky. But should we even show it yet, or should we wait?
Well, I could show the work in progress version. I have to move the computer a little bit. Hold up, but I have it set up. So hold on a second.
I don't have a way of making a drum roll, but y'all need to have a drum roll. Nobody's seen any of this yet. This is the legendary adventures of G.I. Joe that Greg and I have been working on for more than a year now.
See if I can get that into a good view. Sorry, I don't have a separate camera.
It's okay.
It's still not getting it all.
No,
well,
it's still not getting it all. But hey, we get the idea. That's a good sneak peek.
That's right. Nice sneak peek.
Yeah, don't show too much.
That's right. But here's the cool thing. So one of the reasons we went this direction is, of course, there was the Adventure Team where they took Adventure Team and put it into Sinbad, which is a different story if there's time. But
yeah,
one of the things I wanted to do is, okay, so if we did that, if it really was part of that mythos, how do you pull that? How do you pull it all together? And so one of the things I wanted to do was make sure that it still had like the AT logo right there. The breastplate's a little offsize, and he's actually got a holster with a flintlock.
Oh,
shoulder with a flintlock. Yeah,
yeah. So he will. The helmet's too big.
Yeah. The helmet is being resized right now.
Yep. It's got a full backstory that has a lot of little Easter eggy things in it.
Right.
And kind of filling out what we think of as Adventure Team and how it could be real in the modern world, but you'll have to wait and see as we keep releasing little bits of it.
So is this like the beginning of the Adventure Team?
It's the legendary adventures of the Adventure Team.
Hey, how do you know the Adventure Team didn't exist?
I don't. That's what I'm saying. Is this the beginning?
1970.
Is that like a conquistador helmet? Is that what that is? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, he is. Yes.
And in case anyone is going to be woke here, he's not. He's not going in and subduing the natives.
No.
He's actually doing his storyline is actually doing something to help.
Okay.
And so it's actually been a lot of fun writing it. And if you look, actually, wait a second, let me show you this.
And he identifies as G.I. Joe, right?
Right. He's going to be G.I. Joe. That's right.
Now, is this going to come with a comic or something too?
It's going to come with some files from the Adventure Team, from the archivist of the Adventure Team.
Okay.
But if you look carefully on here, I don't know if you can read it, but we've got.
I see writing around the side.
Yeah, we've got recover, resourceful, rescue, and ready.
Oh.
And so what I also did here is it's got wires in here. So because I made the first one just a normal flag. I'm like, well, that's okay, but it's not cool enough. So I made one that is the swallowtail. And then it's like, well, that's cool, but it really needs to look like it's blowing in the breeze. So
right.
and that was like, yeah, that's what it needs. And also I gave him a pole axe instead of just a flagpole. It's a pole axe. In fact, it has to break in two to be able to fit into a normal G.I. Joe size box. But
this will come in a box with the story, with the files, with all the extras, all the little pieces that make the story. And we're not going to tell you much right now because we want to release a little bit of it at a time.
So window style box or a coffin box?
No. You go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, well, it's going to be the size of, actually it'd be closer to the size of like a Johnny West box.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then it will nicely open and have great artwork on the front.
You know what Knapp's doing with his boxes, the ones he's releasing?
Yeah.
It's going to be the same size box as that.
Okay.
Yeah. And everything will be able to fit in the box.
Okay.
And so, and it's big enough too that you'll be able to take a figure, because it's not coming with the figure. At least that's not the plan at this point. So you could go ahead and take whichever figure you want, with whatever sculpt you want. You could dress it on it and then keep it in the box. So you've got the full figure. And we'll probably do some type of a side panel too for the people who like to, line them up like this, on their shelves.
Right.
So is this designed for, classic collection will fit it just as well as reproduction Joe or vintage 70s Joe?
Good question. I've made it for classic collection because, in my opinion, playing with G.I. Joe since, I played with the 1964 ones, but a couple years after that. But my first one was a Marine.
That's the way to go.
But the super articulated classic collection body is like the best.
Yeah.
And so that's the one I'm using here because it's got, all sorts of the nice little, it is the best for posing. And that in this particular case, the Adventure Team head, the original Adventures of G.I. Joe head.
Yeah.
Which was one of the designers, by the way. But that one worked best on this whole ethos. And so if it works, and this, and I'm spending entirely too much time on this, but I'm having fun. And we'll do 10 of these. And then if this works, we have set up a mythos where we can do some more.
Okay.
In other words, the story can continue.
Okay.
Very nice.
Yeah, the story and the legends can continue.
Now, so here's my question. This is a big one. Does he come with a dog tag?
No, but he's got the logo that is his. I forgot the exact name. I looked up. I have all the exact names of all of the armor pieces and stuff, but it's got the AT thing there.
Okay.
I thought, Stacy, of trying to make a dog tag. The words on that symbol that you just saw there a minute ago, they're just too small. I don't think that 3D can reprint that. But just to get a regular A-Team dog tag is not a problem. So that may even be something we'll consider at some point.
Yeah.
When we get ready to pull everything together and see what we're going to have as all the accessories, we may decide just to add that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. One of the things that I started doing a few years ago, and I don't know if you've seen the one that Greg and I did a few years ago with the monkey. But I tried to have it ready for Toylanta, and it was hard to get it all together, get every piece that we were going to put together and all the printing done on the boxes and everything. But we did finally make it. But then he just told me we're going to try to make 10. I may decide to make 12 if he'll consent to make 12. But here's the reason that I've even kicked around making 12 is because now I'm having people come back to me and saying, "Did you make one extra?" Because I will buy the one extra.
Yeah,
Do you
that's
have
always it.
Yeah, because
It's always that way.
it
You got to
is.
make one for yourself, because
Yeah.
that way, that's your last, your last one. You could either sell it or not, or at least you got one of what you made.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, I have the original prototype, which is that one, which is still needs a little refining. And then I've actually have 10 sets of van braces made, 10 sets of pants made, 10 of the capes are already made. The shirts are almost completely made for all 10. And so I've been doing everything in sets of 10 to get it all done.
this guy is amazing. That's all I can tell you. This guy is amazing. And Hasbro does not know, or Mattel, what they lost when they lost this guy. Because I know that they want to make millions, and I know they're about big money. I understand that, but they're neglecting a niche that they could fill that niche. Somebody could step up and fill that niche, but they're not doing it. And I think it was you and me, Stacy, were saying the other night, and Rick even, that we're the ones that are filling that niche now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because nobody else is doing that.
And we got to keep it alive. It's the only way we're going to do it.
I love the creations that the collectors come up with. I love it. Paul is doing it now, but he's only making one set. But still, someday, you're going to look back on it. If you bought a set, you're going to say, "Man, this is unique. I've got something that Paul made, and there's only one in the whole world."
Yeah. Anytime that I ever work on something for other people, which I do that quite frequently, I always buy one or work it into the deal, when I exchange my work for it or whatever. And I always buy one, and that way I have one, because I never know if I'm ever going to see it again,
Yeah.
Right.
And that's just the way it is. So, but that's what you got to do, if you like it, generally I like most of the stuff that I do, may not be my idea what they did, but I like my word for it. So either whether I like the piece itself really, or I just like what I did, that's what I do. So
Right.
might not be for everybody, but I like to own a piece of something I did. That's all.
I think that's the way to go. I think that's the way to go. And now we got to get Rick into creating something. He came out with a few of those action figures with some wild heads on a few years ago, and I thought, that would be interesting to make, something maybe from the center of the earth or something. Who knows?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Dinosaur people, or
dinosaur people from the center of the earth or whatever.
Lucidar, yes, from the Edgar Rice Burroughs novels.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they've never done a John Carter that was any good. That John Carter that they made just was no good.
I know.
Yeah, actually, I have one of the. Wait, they had the ones that were made. I forgot what the company was now, but yeah, I have one in drawer over here because it was cool, but I'd love to make one that's 1/6 scale, but I don't know if anyone would care.
Well, somebody made a 1/6 one, but it's no good. It's just trash. It's horrible. I looked at that and I said, "Could y'all have made John Carter any uglier?" I mean,
next show, I'll dig mine out and I'll show it. It's still in the box, but I'll show it to you guys.
Do you think he's as ugly as I do?
I saw it's bad. It's bad.
It's an odd sculpt. Yeah. But the figure itself, it's got some cool stuff on it. The problem is, we talked about this before.
Stuff like that are good. Yes.
If you open that box up, he's just going to fall apart in your hands.
Right.
All that leather good and all that stuff is junk now, unfortunately. Yeah. But he looks good in the box. Just leave him in the box.
Yeah.
I like to take stuff out of the box, but some cases you're better off. Yeah. But generally, if I'm going to leave one in the box, then I buy two. One stays in the box, the other one I take out then.
I'll tell you what, the same company, Caustic Plastic, made a Zorro. And I have him, and he's actually quite a good figure. He's really nice.
Well, they make some good stuff.
What did he sell for?
There's no leather work on him yet, pleather stuff.
What did he sell for originally? The Zorro, Rick.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, if when he first came out, they were probably like 100, 150 or something. I had to piece mine together off of eBay, and
Oh,
I
you
was
did?
lucky. Yeah,
Okay.
I was lucky to
Yeah, I think
find
they were
all.
like $100 or something like that, weren't they? Like 99 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, they don't last. Again, they made the Josh Randall figure from Wanted Dead or Alive, and he just fell apart when I took him out. So I salvaged them. I mean, I salvaged the coat, and I made my Steve McQueen Sand Pebbles figure. So I was happy.
So the figure was okay, but you're saying the accessories just fell apart, right?
Yeah, because they had all this nice leather work, straps and belts and everything, and as
And
soon
if they
as you
use
touch
cheap
them,
leather or the stitching's not very good, then that's when it falls apart. It
I
rots.
got you.
it just
got
If you get in the sun.
the leather just disintegrated.
Yeah.
And it was sticky and yucky. So if you tried to do anything to it, you were all done.
Yeah.
All right, Greg. So I got another question for you. So the shoes, are they sandals? Is he going to have some kind of boot wrap type thing, or
He's actually going to have conquistador boots
okay,
Oh.
that Greg has sewn himself.
really?
Yes.
I don't know if you will.
Oh yeah,
Light here, but they're actually I'm very picky. These are the nicest hand sewn boots I've ever seen. But
Wow.
you can't quite
Yeah,
see the
those are nice.
detail here, but it's even got like top stitching down the front on the two sides there.
okay.
There's a name for this top piece, but the cavalry people would have that for extra armor when they
Right.
were on horseback. And because I was going to use a different boot first that I happen to have from something else that no one would recognize. But it didn't look right. So it's like, forget it. I got to make real boots for it. I kept making it better than I should have.
Yeah. Are those going to be difficult to get on and off?
No, they won't. No. You
No.
put a little powder in them. Put a little powder in them. That's all you do. Just put a little powder in them.
Because those will, if that's classic collection, then that'll fit vintage Joe because the foot's basically the same.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but if it's an SA Joe, those feet are tiny.
Right.
Oh, yeah,
SA.
that's true.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I just
There you
pulled it
go.
off.
Yeah, that looks
but
right.
it's using the original size foot. I
Yeah,
made the
good.
pattern for the original size foot.
That looks like
Yeah,
a
awesome.
classic collection, like the Bigfoot, like G.I. Joe, doesn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's
Okay.
it's
Yeah.
one of the it is one of the super articulated.
Oh,
Okay.
good. Okay. Nice.
So yeah, I was a real pain, and it's 1/8 inch seams,
Yeah.
which is sometimes.
Would you do that on a serger, or did you use a regular sewing machine, or
I have an industrial machine,
okay?
but sometimes you just need this to do it.
I know what those are. Yeah. I know. What a pain.
I was actually paid by a collector to make, how the Mego figures there was the Mego Gilligan's Island figures.
Yeah.
And the sculptings were really nice, and the shoes were nice, and the soft goods were terrible.
Oh.
So someone had me make entirely new soft goods for one of the figures, and so I actually had to grind down a presser foot for my machine so that I could make that little cap and run it through the presser foot to be able to sew it.
Oh.
So sometimes I have to make, custom tools to be able to do things like that. That's as small of a hat as I'm ever going to make again.
Was that
But
Gilligan's
it's
hat?
really cool. I even got the placard, a real placard on the shirt, and a proper collar and a little button in the middle. It was like, when it was done, it was like, oh my gosh, that was like perfect. It took a while to get everything and the pockets sewn on it and everything. So if anyone needs any custom work and you're willing to pay,
Yeah.
give me a call. But right now things are a little tricky for me with some big jobs going away and maybe some big jobs coming in. The world is crazy right now. So
well, I got you on the full picture. So show that boot again with you on the full picture. Yeah, that way they'll be able to see it a little bit better. There you go.
Oh yeah, you can see the stitching now on the top.
Yes,
there you
you
go.
can.
Oh,
Wow.
look at that! Definitely. Wow.
Look at that. And there's the sole.
So
Ooh,
that's
very
actually a
nice.
separate piece. It's like another piece of leather or something you put on there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Black. In fact, what I did was because you were complaining about the faux leather. I hated it because it would always do that. So
Yeah.
I found a different type that looks more like leather. I don't know if you can see the texture on here. Texture is just a little big,
Yeah.
but I've had this fabric for years and it has not gone bad. Unlike
Yes.
so many other G.I. Joe
Right.
coats that I've had. And so I actually made this set using a red version of this. Let's see if I can get back to the light here. A red version of this for some of the parts.
There you go.
And a brown version.
Okay.
Yeah, this
for
is
some
going
of
to this is going to be part of the accessories too, but we ain't going to tell you what it's about.
Yeah.
Y'all are getting it. Y'all are getting the first glimpse. The first glimpse of him.
So something funny, I just finished a rough design and sent it to a factory this morning. And it's actually for a dive toy in the pool.
Uh-huh.
And last night I was looking at it. I'm like, is this a little too violent? But my kids said, no, the boys will still love it. But the funny thing is, and I can't tell you what it is, but it is exactly what we would have done in G.I. Joe. If G.I. Joe had one of these toys at the time, we
Right.
would have been in the pool playing with it.
Right.
And I found a way to make it safe and inexpensive for the marketplace and all of that. And so I'm still slugging it out.
Well, Donald
Making
Bates
new
says
stuff.
that he likes the size of the World Peacekeeper dog tags. Is he talking about the little tiny ones?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
little small black ones.
Nah.
Like,
No, I don't
No,
think.
there's silver ones. They look
Yeah.
just like real dog tags. Yeah.
Yeah,
oh,
but
well, I think
that
who's the
wouldn't
one that
go
makes the
good
little
on.
black ones? Then there's like little small black ones.
Huh?
That might have been World Peacekeepers too, but
I think that was
because I've
older
seen
version.
those.
Yeah.
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 But the
And at
silver
one
ones-
time, there were some G.I. Joe ones that were correct scale that came also. So you had some 1/6 scale ones because at that time, one of the designers was a Vietnam vet, and he was also a reenactor, actually a Rev War reenactor. So he was making sure things were as exact as he could get them.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well,
Yeah.
let's see here. Will the figure have a tote bag or a haversack? We're not going to say right yet. But
That looks like that thing you showed looked like a little coin bag.
don't say nothing.
And honestly, I think people will have as much fun reading what is written in the set as they will with the figure, because I actually wrote some stuff on Sunday that was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. And it was kind of like the stuff we would have thought of as kids,
Right.
and I wrote it down.
Yeah.
Well, people told me the other day, they said, whenever I buy a figure and it has the comic on the back, I know that Greg Arturo made that. And that was such a unique idea to put that comic on the back with the story.
Now, the first 3 or 4 that were the adventures of were done by someone else.
Okay.
And then as soon as when I got the first one I did was the Trouble at Coyote Crossing.
Uh-huh.
And so from that point on, any of the ones that were comic panels, and then some of the other ones that were just written stories were mine. For the most part.
Did the 2-pack have a story with it too? Double duties?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Because when I went in and showed those, I gave them the story as I'm presenting it to upper management. So first they go do this, and then they go do it. And so I'm playing with them in front of everyone.
Right.
And if you've read or heard me tell it before, it's like when I first made that and I gave the idea to the manager, he's like, nah, you can't afford that. And then he comes back to me a week later going, do you really think you can afford that? I'm like, yes, I can. assign me to do that, and I will do it. And that's some of my favorite work was the double duties, because that's how I played as a child. I set up the figure to go do the mission, and I did the mission.
Right.
I put everything on the figure that that needed for the mission.
Right.
Did you work on the Xenome?
I did not. And when I saw that, I'm like, guys, why didn't you let me work on that? When I was doing Joe, it was split between a couple of places because we still had Kenner in Cincinnati. And I was a Kenner employee for 4 years. And then I was gone because I didn't want to move to Rhode Island. And then they brought me back in as a vendor, inside vendor, which is unusual. And so for a couple of years, I was inside and saw everything and did like some projects all the way through. And then later when they moved to Rhode Island, I was doing Greg, here's your assignment. Either sometimes it was, I want you to do this figure, or sometimes it was, Greg, here's the slots. Give me ideas and concepts for them and give me the model in 2 weeks. That type of stuff. So as it went over to Rhode Island, I saw less and less of what was happening, unfortunately.
Here's your hint about that planet Xenome. There's no backstory.
Right. Well, that's what I was thinking. Because I was just looking at one.
He would have wrote it if there was, and that's the only thing that's missing. You're going, well, why did they go there, and what are they doing? There's no story. Now we all can make up our own, but there was none that came with it anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
You got your mayonnaise jar. We only got 5 minutes.
I got it. You want to answer some quick questions, Greg? This
Sure.
is when the show gets interesting. We didn't do this before, did we? No. I asked you the hermetically sealed questions that reveal your innermost self to all of us. No,
that's good. So we can say the answer is
yes.
The question is.
Are you ready? What's your favorite sandwich?
Probably club
sandwich. Turkey?
Oh yeah. Turkey, bacon, and ham, or beef, depending upon the place.
What's the one thing you own that you should throw out?
One?
I'm just giving you one. We're stuck on time here.
Actually, there's an awful lot of books that it's like everything's available. I would hoard it for reference, and you don't have to do that anymore. So got another pile of books to go.
All right, books. What's your favorite action movie? This should be a good one.
Oh gosh, there's so many. I love Kelly's Heroes. I love King Arthur, and then the latest, or one of the latest King Arthur ones, the one with Clive Owen. I love Kingdom of God, Kingdom of Heaven.
Yeah.
There's just so many good action movies, and of course, Captain America is my favorite comic book action movie.
Did you like the Voyages of Sinbad?
You mean the old ones with the
old ones? Yeah.
Oh yeah. Seventh Voyage of Sinbad, Golden Voyage. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I loved them.
And Ray Harryhausen doing all of the. I was a complete geek during that time. Yeah, and I used to have the poster of the Seventh Voyage of Sinbad movie poster up on my ceiling with a few other, with like the Planet of the Apes and some things like that.
All good stuff. Greg, do you believe in Bigfoot?
Duh. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he does.
That's probably the best answer.
I've got 3 of them over here. Yeah. Hey, keep in mind, for you people who are like, oh, there's no such thing as Bigfoot, keep in mind that gorillas and orangutans were both legendary animals until the year 1900, when they were finally proven.
Yep. That's
right.
True.
That's right.
It's true. If you could listen to one song for the rest of your life, what would it be? Always a tough one.
Greater by Mercy Me.
All right. Good. We have to write that one down. All right, here's one more question for you, and this one is really seals the deal, okay? Is Die Hard a Christmas movie.
It certainly was absolutely made with Christmas in mind from top to bottom, and all of the music all the way through it.
Yeah. There you go.
It's kind of a what do you call it, dirty secret favorite Christmas movie for many people. It's that type of a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, we watch that one when the kids go to bed. That's right. But there you have it, Greg. Everybody knows your innermost self now. Thank you very much.
Well, Greg, I'm going to ask you one that he left off. What's the scariest animal?
My ex.
Well, with that, we're gonna close out this great show. Wow, what a show! Listen, I thank you so much for being here, Greg. You really enlightened us tonight. We learned a lot. Didn't y'all get something good out of this one?
Oh, yeah, that's great. Yeah.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
I love
Greg.
that.
Let's
Very
all
nice.
remember now that toys are fun, okay? And we'll see you next time. Bye for now.